Sign the damn papers, Camila. His voice echoed across the marble foyer of the penthouse, the one they'd picked out together 3 years ago, the one with a view of Biscayne Bay, the one that was supposed to be theirs. Camila Rivera stood frozen, pen trembling in her hand, mascara streaking down her face. Behind him, she stood, the other woman, blonde, polished, smiling. "You were always too weak for this life," he sneered. "I need someone who can keep up." Camila's lip quivered. "I gave you everything, and it still wasn't enough." He turned to walk away, arm around the blonde, laughter spilling from his lips like poison. But then, 30 seconds later, his phone rang, and when he answered, the color drained from his face. "What do you mean the board voted me out?" Camila looked up, and for the first time in 3 years, she smiled. "Before this goes any further, if you've ever believed in taking a chance on someone, in choosing heart over comfort, please stay with us. Subscribing, liking, or sharing this story isn't about supporting a channel. It's about standing behind stories that remind us who we are. If that matters to you, even a little, stay." 6 months earlier, Camila Rivera wasn't supposed to fall in love with Dominic Kane. She was a financial analyst at a mid-tier investment firm in Brickell. He was the CEO of Kane Enterprises, a billion-dollar real estate and tech conglomerate that owned half of downtown Miami. They met at a charity gala at the Paris Art Museum. She was there representing her firm. He was there because his PR team told him to show up. "You look bored," she'd said, sipping champagne near the balcony. He'd turned, eyebrow raised. "That obvious? You've checked your watch 4 times in the last 10 minutes. He smirked. "You're observant. I'm an analyst. It's kind of my job." "Dominic Kane." He extended a hand. "I know who you are." She shook it. "Camila Rivera." And what does Camila Rivera do when she's not analyzing people at galas? She goes home and watches the Great British Baking Show with her cat. He laughed. "Genuinely. That's the most honest thing anyone said to me in months." 3 months later, they were engaged. Dominic was intense, driven, obsessed with success. But when he looked at Camila, something in him softened. She wasn't impressed by his money. She didn't care about the penthouse or the Lamborghini or the private jet. She cared about the man who stayed up late reading her terrible poetry, the man who brought her coffee in bed, the man who held her when she cried about losing her father. "You make me feel human," he'd whispered one night, tangled in sheets, the Miami skyline glowing beyond the windows. "You are human," she'd whispered back. He kissed her forehead. "Don't ever leave me." "Never." But 6 months into their engagement, things started to shift. Dominic became distant, obsessed with a new acquisition. Late nights turned into all-nighters. Conversations turned into arguments. "I'm building an empire, Camila," he'd shouted one night. "You think that happens by clocking out at 5? I'm not asking you to clock out. I'm asking you to see me. I don't have time for this." And he'd left. Again, it started with a name. Victoria Langford. She was the VP of Marketing at Kane Enterprises. Harvard MBA. Former model. The kind of woman who walked into a room and owned it. Camila first noticed her at a company holiday party at the Fontainebleau. Victoria laughed at all of Dominic's jokes, touched his arm a little too long, leaned in a little too close. "Who is that?" Camila had asked. "Victoria. She's brilliant. Just closed a $15 million partnership. She seems friendly." Dominic shrugged. "She's good at her job." But Camila's gut twisted. 2 weeks later, she found a receipt in his jacket pocket. Dinner at Zuma. 4-2. The night he'd told her he was working late. It was a business dinner, he'd said coolly when she confronted him. At 11 p.m.? "Camila, don't do this. Don't be that woman." "What woman?" The paranoid, clingy one. She recoiled like she'd been slapped. "I'm not clingy. I'm concerned." "Well, don't be." And that was it. No apology. No reassurance. Just cold dismissal. 3 weeks later, Camila came home early from a work trip to find Dominic on the couch with Victoria. They weren't kissing. They weren't touching. But the way they looked at each other, the intimacy in their silence, told her everything. Camila, Dominic stood. This isn't. Don't. Her voice was ice. Don't you dare. Victoria stood too, smoothing her skirt. I should go. Yeah, Camila snapped. You should. Victoria left without another word. Dominic ran a hand through his hair. Nothing happened. Do you love her? Silence. Dominic, do you love her? He looked away, and Camila's world shattered. That night, Camila sat on the bathroom floor, knees pulled to her chest, staring at the engagement ring on her finger. She thought about all the women who'd been here before her, the ones who ignored the signs, the ones who stayed, the ones who believed the lies. And she wondered, when did I stop being enough? If you've ever looked at yourself in the mirror and wondered when you became invisible to someone who once saw everything in you, drop a comment, because sometimes we need to hear we're not alone in that pain. Dominic didn't fight for her. That was the part that hurt most. He moved out the next day, took his clothes, his laptop, his stupid espresso machine, left the ring on the counter. No note, no explanation. Just gone. 2 weeks later, his engagement to Victoria Langford was announced in the Miami Herald. Camila saw it while standing in line at Publix on Brick Hill, holding a basket of frozen dinners and wine. The headline, Miami's Power Couple, Kane Enterprises CEO to wed marketing VP. There was a photo, Dominic in a tailored suit, Victoria in a white cocktail dress, both smiling. Camila dropped the basket. A woman behind her picked it up. You okay, hon? Camila nodded, numb. Yeah, I'm fine. But she wasn't. The worst part came 3 days later. Camila was having lunch with her best friend Jasmine at a cafe in Wynwood when her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It was a video. She pressed play. It was Dominic at some rooftop party, champagne in hand. Victoria beside him. Someone off camera asked, So what happened with the last one? Dominic laughed. Camila? She was sweet, but she couldn't keep up. I need someone who matches my energy. Someone who understands ambition. Victoria kissed his cheek. You deserve the best, babe. I know. Laughter erupted. The video ended. Camila's hands shook. Jasmine grabbed her wrist. Cammy, he's mocking me, she whispered. He's mocking me. He's a piece of shit. I gave him everything. I know. And he's laughing about it. Camila. Jasmine gripped her shoulders. Listen to me. You are not weak. You are not pathetic. And you are not going to let him win. Then what do I do? Jasmine's eyes glinted. You remind him who the hell you are. Camila had always been smart. Top of her class at the University of Florida. Fast-tracked at her firm. She knew numbers. She knew patterns. She knew how to find the cracks. And Dominic Kane? He had cracks. She started digging. Late nights. Coffee. Spreadsheets. Tax filings. Board meeting minutes. And then she found it. Kane Enterprises had a silent partner. A venture capital firm that owned 30% of the company. The same firm Camila had worked with for years. She made a call. Langston Mercer? It's Camila Rivera. Pause. Camila, it's been a while. I need a favor. I'm listening. I need you to call a board vote. Silence. On what grounds? Mismanagement. Ethical violations. Take your pick. I'll send you the files. Why are you doing this? Camila's voice was steel. Because he underestimated me. That night, Camila sat at her kitchen table, surrounded by documents, her laptop glowing in the dark. Jasmine had asked her earlier, Are you sure you want to do this? Camila had looked up, eyes red but resolute. He humiliated me. He threw me away. And then he laughed about it. And you think this will make you feel better? No. Camila's jaw tightened. But it'll make him feel worse. If you've ever been pushed so far that you had to choose between staying silent or fighting back, even when fighting back scared you, leave a comment. Tell me what you chose. Because sometimes survival looks like revenge, and sometimes that's okay. 2 weeks later, the Kane Enterprises board convened for an emergency meeting. Dominic walked in confident, cocky, untouchable. Victoria was by his side, always. "What's this about?" he asked Langston, who sat at the head of the table. "Sit down, Dominic." He frowned but obeyed. Langston slid a folder across the table. "We've received some troubling information." Dominic flipped it open. His face went white. "Where did you get this?" "That doesn't matter." Inside were documents, emails, proof that Dominic had been funneling company funds into personal offshore accounts, that he'd lied to investors, that he'd falsified reports. This is fabricated." "It's not," Langston said calmly. "We verified everything." "Who did this?" Dominic's voice rose. "Who? The board has voted. You're out. Effective immediately." Silence. Victoria's hand slipped from his. "You can't do this," Dominic hissed. "We just did." He stood, chair screeching. "I built this company, and you destroyed it." Dominic stormed out, and as the door slammed, Langston texted Camila. "It's done." Within 24 hours, the news broke. Dominic Kane ousted from Kane Enterprises amid financial scandal. The media tore him apart. His assets were frozen. His reputation tanked. Investors pulled out. Victoria left him 3 days later. Publicly. "I didn't sign up for this," she told Page 6. Dominic was alone. 1 month later, Dominic showed up at Camila's apartment. She opened the door to find him disheveled, unshaven, broken. "You did this," he said quietly. "I did." "Why?" She stepped aside. "Come in." He did. They sat across from each other in the living room, the same room where he'd once proposed. "You humiliated me," Camila said. "You threw me away like I was nothing, and then you laughed about it. I was stupid. You were cruel." He looked at her, eyes hollow. "I lost everything." "So did I." Her voice cracked. "The difference is I didn't deserve it." Silence. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I don't care." "Camila, you don't get to do this, Dominic. You don't get to show up here and expect me to feel sorry for you." "I don't." He stood. I needed you to know I was wrong about everything." She didn't respond. He walked to the door, paused. "For what it's worth, you were always enough." And then he left. Camila sat there, tears streaming, heartbreaking all over again. Because even after everything, a part of her still loved him. And that was the cruelest part of all. 3 months later, Camila moved to Austin. Fresh start, new job, new life. She got an apartment near Zilker Park. Started running, started painting, started therapy. She made new friends, found new routines. And slowly, she started to feel like herself again. One Saturday, she was at the H-E-B on South Congress, grabbing groceries, when someone called her name. "Camila?" She turned. It was Langston Mercer. "Langston? What are you doing in Austin?" "I moved here 6 months ago. Opened a new office." He smiled. "What about you?" "Same. New start." They talked, laughed, exchanged numbers. And over the next few weeks, they started meeting for coffee, then dinner, then long walks around Lady Bird Lake. Langston was kind, patient, steady. He didn't rush her, didn't push. He just showed up. One evening, sitting on a bench overlooking the water, Langston turned to her. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Do you regret it? What you did to Dominic?" Camila thought about it. "No. He needed to fall. Not for me. For himself." "That's a very mature answer." She smiled. "I'm working on it." "You're incredible, you know that?" She looked at him. "I'm getting there." If you ever had to destroy something or someone to save yourself, and you're still not sure if it was the right choice, leave a comment. Tell me your story. Because healing isn't linear. And sometimes the hardest part is forgiving ourselves for surviving. 6 months later, Camila was at a tech conference in downtown Austin when she saw him. Dominic. He looked different. Thinner. Older. Tired. Their eyes met across the room. He started walking toward her. She didn't run. Didn't hide. She just stood there. Camila. Dominic. Silence. You look good, he said. Thanks. I heard you're doing well. Langston told me. You talk to Langston? Sometimes. He's helping me rebuild. That's good. More silence. I'm sorry, he said again. For everything. I know. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? She looked at him. Really looked at him. And for the first time, she felt nothing. No anger. No pain. No love. Just peace. I already have, she said softly. But that doesn't mean I want you in my life. He nodded. I understand. I hope you find what you're looking for, Dominic. I hope you already have. She smiled. I'm getting there. And she walked away. 1 year later, Camila and Langston stood on the rooftop of their apartment building, watching the sunset over Austin. I have something for you, Langston said. Langston, it's not my birthday. He got down on one knee. Camila's breath caught. Camila Rivera, you are the strongest, smartest, most beautiful person I've ever met. You've been through hell, and you came out the other side with grace. I don't know what I did to deserve you, but I'm not letting you go. He pulled out a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down her face. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring on her finger, and as they kissed, the Austin skyline glowing behind them, Camila realized something. She'd lost everything, but she'd found herself, and that was worth more than any empire. 2 years later, Camila and Langston were married in a small ceremony at Zilker Park. Just close friends and family. No media, no spectacle, just love. Dominic wasn't there, but he sent a card. Congratulations. You deserve all the happiness in the world. D. Camila read it once, smiled, and threw it away, not out of bitterness, but because she'd moved on. That night, at their reception at a small restaurant on Rainy Street, Camila stood to give a toast. I want to thank everyone for being here, for supporting me, for loving me. She looked at Langston, tears in her eyes. 2 years ago, I was broken. I thought my life was over. But I learned something. She paused. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is the best thing that could have happened, because it forces you to become who you were always meant to be. Everyone raised their glasses. To second chances, someone called out. To new beginnings, another added. Langston stood, pulling her close. To you, Camila smiled. To us. And as they kissed, surrounded by love and laughter and light, she knew she'd won. Not because she destroyed Dominic, but because she'd rebuilt herself. And that was the greatest victory of all. Later that night, as they slow danced under string lights, Langston whispered, Do you ever think about what would have happened if you stayed? Camila shook her head. No, because I wouldn't be here. With you. You think everything happened for a reason? I think we make our own reasons. He smiled. I love you, Camila Kane. Wait, Camila Mercer. She laughed. I love you too. And somewhere miles away, in a city she no longer called home, Dominic Kane sat alone in a hotel room, scrolling through photos of the life he'd lost. And for the first time, he understood he hadn't lost her. He'd thrown her away. And now she was free. If this story reminded you that sometimes losing everything is the only way to find yourself, and that the best revenge is becoming someone you're proud of, drop a comment. Tell me your comeback story, because the world needs to hear it. And so do you. This story is dedicated to everyone who's ever been underestimated. You are not what they said you were. You are who you choose to become. And that's unstoppable. If this story touched you in any way, if it made you feel something, pause for a moment, or see life a little differently, please don't let it end here. These stories take heart, time, and care to create, And your support is what keeps them alive. Subscribing, liking, or sharing isn't just a click. It's a quiet way of saying this mattered. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told, please stay with us.